Welcome to Gamer's Edge. I'm your host, Steve Welsh, and this week on the show, we're reviewing Bioshock. You play as Jack, the lone survivor of a plane crash in the Atlantic Ocean in the alternate version of 1960. After awaking in the water with burning wreckage all around, Jack swims to a nearby lighthouse in the middle of the ocean. From there, he enters a bathysphere, which descends Jack down into the underwater city of Rapture. This ride is narrated by the city's ruler, Andrew Ryan. He tells of why he created Rapture, to break away from the government of the United States, the religion of the church, and the communism of Russia, to form his own utopia. This cries out to the little anarchist in all of us. Once Jack enters the city of Rapture, Big Daddies, little sisters, genetic freaks, and more await him around every corner. One of the first things you will notice about this game is the beautiful graphics and the unique setting that is Rapture. I don't remember the last time I played an underwater city level in a game, probably episode 1 of Phantom Menace in the Gungan City, but needless to say it's done much better in Bioshock. The city alone is a sight to behold, and it wouldn't be nearly as impressive without the powerful graphics engine. For example, the very beginning of the game, wading in the water of the Atlantic Ocean after the plane crashes. The light shimmering on the water, the glow of the fire, the sinking of the tail end of the 747 makes you feel like hypothermia should be setting in while you're sitting in your own room. The inspiration of Ayn Rand is splattered all over the walls of Rapture, as the city is so impressive and deep that it becomes a character unto itself. As for the gameplay, Bioshock is a first-person shooter with elements of role-playing and stealth elements sprinkled throughout. You play through the eyes of Jack and can use weapons with the right trigger and scroll through the weapons options with the right bumper. Plasmids can be used with the left trigger and you can scroll through the plasmids options with the left bumper. There will be more on plasmids in a second. On the 360, A is used to interact with objects and hack. B is a first aid kit. X reloads your current weapon and Y jumps. All the controls seem very fluid and natural and are very responsive. Walking speed, looking speed are right on, and they don't hinder the gameplay one bit. The weapons list doesn't seem deep at a first glance, but there's a catch. Jack can wield a wrench, pistol, machine gun, shotgun, grenade launcher, chemical thrower, and a crossbow. Each of these guns can be loaded with normal rounds, armor-piercing rounds, and anti-personnel rounds, while the chemical thrower can unleash napalm, liquid nitrogen, and electric gel. Along with the setting and environment of Rapture, the plasmids are what set this game apart from the other first-person shooters out there. Plasmids are injectable powers you find around Rapture that you can use against your enemies. These plasmid powers range from cyclone traps to create a spinning vortex to trap opponents, to incinerate, which releases a torrent of fire setting enemies ablaze, to telekinesis, the ability to move objects with your mind. These 11 different plasmids can also be used in a combination with your weapons to a devastating effect. The enemies in Bioshock that will be facing your wrath are Splicers, Little Sisters, and Big Daddies. The baddies you'll see the most are the genetically mutated Splicers, which will remind you of something out of a bad horror movie. 5 different kinds of Splicers will try their best to eviscerate and maim Jack. Thuggish Splicers use blunt weapons, Leadheads use guns, Spiders walk on walls, Houdinis can teleport, and Nitros throw grenades. Splicers are the henchmen types in Bioshock. The real fight lies in the Big Daddies, or as the Little Sisters like to call them, Mr. Bubbles. Big Daddies are a technological monstrosity resembling a deep-sea diver with a huge drill for a hand. That's the love child of a George Orwell and Philip K. Dick nightmare. If you want to get to the Little Sisters, you have to go through these bad boys first. Some of the smaller aspects of the game, but are still crucial, are the Vita Chambers and hacking. Some other reviewers faulted Bioshock for the inclusion of the Vita Chambers, claiming that it made the game too easy. But I for one see this game as something that should be enjoyed by all, so these chambers that rebirth you after you die are a nice addition to help even the casual gamer see the end of this well-orchestrated tale. The hacking is another element usually seen in RPGs but is incorporated into Bioshock. 2K Games considers the game to be the spiritual successor to their cult classic System Shock 2, so they wanted an updated version of hacking and puzzle solving involved in Bioshock. It's nicely incorporated and placed well to break up action sequences. 2 more areas that this game does incredibly well are the music and the writing. All of the music is from phonographs and record players, and it's a collection of 1930s and 40s big band and jazz. It's perfect for setting the eerie and unsettling tone in the underwater dystopia. The music sets the mood, but what makes this game an instant classic is the writing and the philosophy behind it. The developers have studied Ayn Rand and George Well from front to back and have created a video game they would both be happy with. This seems like the kind of work these two would be doing today if they were still with us. Be sure to look for the allusions to their work throughout the game, as they are everywhere, starting obviously with Atlas. So be sure to get caught up on the original before the sequel comes out later this year, because it's a game you don't want to miss. Bioshock gets 5 Mr. Bubbles out of 5.